Let's walk through how to plan sprints in ZStream. So first of all, a little clarification on releases and boards and the backlog and how they work together. A release is just a group of tasks that have some value that you want to keep track of and release at the same time. Boards are workspaces where you can work those tasks through your workflow and basically track the progress of all those tasks across that agile board. Now, a task can either be in the backlog or in the board, independently of whether it's in a release or not in a release. So, to begin with, we're going to take a bunch of tasks from our backlog, or they could be tasks from boards or other releases, but in this case, we'll just take some tasks that we have, and we will plan them out in a release. So this is some chunk of value that we want to release. And then we can balance load and essentially curate this release, remove things we don't need before moving these tasks to different boards. So this could be a board for working on tasks related to the back end, related to the front end, or related to marketing. And these can be 3 separate boards that all have tasks from this one release. These 3 boards could also have tasks from multiple releases. And I'll show you how this works in practice in a second. So once we've worked through these tasks on our boards, our back-end team has made some progress on some tasks, our front-end team has, and our marketing team has as well. A lot of these tasks will be in the done status, essentially when this sprint is finished. What that means is that we can lock or complete this sprint, which still contains these same tasks that are on these boards. And the tasks that are done, that is tasks with a status marked resolved, will be hidden from these boards. So we can keep working and plan another release and basically free up our team's space in terms of how they're visualizing the progress of their work. So they can start another, so they can understand that this release is totally done, etc. Now, any tasks that are included in this release, it starts out opened or unreleased, and finally we lock it or complete the release, hiding those done tasks from the boards. Any tasks that are not in a resolved status will be moved to either the next release or to no release. And this will be just archived so we can go back and look at it anytime. So let's actually walk through how this works in Stream. So we will start by creating a release because we have no releases here. And let's just call this Sprint 11 so it looks the same as the diagram. Release Planning Practice Project. Now we can create a date range, which will just let everyone see the date range on this release, as well as give us some metrics in terms of estimated availability of our team members so we can balance the load. So let's plan this to be a week-long sprint. This is our first release, all right. Great, so now this release is empty because we haven't added any tasks yet. You can see these metrics are empty as well. But in our details, we have our description, and we can add some comment for our team if we need to talk about things included in this release. We can also add attachments. Great, so the task list is empty. We'll go to our tasks. Let's see all tasks actually. And we're going to go ahead and add some of these tasks to this release. So let's just pretend I'm choosing the most valuable tasks here. A lot of these have the same status and priority, which is fine. This is just to demonstrate. So we have 12 tasks selected. We can also go in and deselect some here if we need to, but this looks good. We're going to go down here to the Move To action, and we're going to move all of these tasks into our release that we just created. Great. Now once we go back to our release, we can see that all of these tasks are here. Need to mute my computer real quick. And we see this release is opened. It's not completed. We have an estimate of 32 hours total for all the tasks in this release. And we can see the progress of all the tasks in this release based on our status colors. tasks with a status with the same color will be separated by a little white separator if they're different statuses with the same color. So we have Jello and Hello here. They're different statuses, and so to separate those, if they happen to be next to each other in our workflow, there's a separator. All right, now we can also bucket this release by assignee. So I can go in and I can see load for people, estimated time, tasks, points, and I can look at their tasks. Okay, no tasks there. And here we go. So the amount of tasks that load here in this bucketed view is limited to 10. Now, no one in this release has 10 tasks assigned to them. But it is limited so that you can open multiple accordions and look at multiple people's tasks at once. Like this. Now, none of these actually reaches 10, but that's okay. If you have more than 10, you can always just click here and load more yourself if you really need to see all of the tasks associated with someone in a release. You can also, of course, go to the non-bucketed view and filter by any of these filters, including assignee. So now to split these tasks into boards so our different team members can work with them, let's create some boards. So let's call this the backend board. We'll give it the full workflow template. And let's create a front-end board as well with the same workflow template. We'll go back to our release. And let's say PM and Alexander are both front-end developers. We can filter by them, select all of these tasks, and move them directly to the front-end board. Great, let's clear this filter. And now let's filter by our team members who are doing, say, back-end development. There we go. Great, now we can select all of these. And we can see in this list, by the way, that these are in the backlog and are not in any board yet. We can move them to our back-end board. All right, so now we can go back to our boards and we see they're populated. We can see the progress roughly of these tasks, the estimate totals. This doesn't have any because these are dummy tasks. Points totals and the date created. So let's go into our front end board, for example, and we can see all our tasks here that we added. And we're going to simulate the fact that our team has worked through all of these tasks. Each of these developers has moved them across our workflow. Maybe they've passed QA on different servers, and they're done. So we can drag them over there. And I'll leave one task that is not in a resolved status. So this task, if we go to our project settings, or this status, 23424, that's actually the column name, not the status name, because it's on a board template. But anyway, it's one of these blue statuses, and none of these are marked as a resolved status. Only this done status is marked as resolved, which we can change in the settings, by the way. So with that resolved status, we go back to our board. All of these tasks are in that resolved status. And let's go to our other board. We have not simulated working through these yet, but I can select all of them and drag them over to done. Great, so our backend team has also worked through all of their tasks except this one for some reason. Maybe it needs fixes, maybe they didn't get to it. For whatever reason, it's not completed. So now that we have these tasks done, I'm going to go back to the full boards list just to show you. 5 out of 6 done, 5 out of 6 done, and we can see the green there. Now we can go back to our release. It looks as it should. We have everything done except these two, and we can see the boards that these are on. Now we can go ahead and complete this release. So all the completed tasks in this release, which is called Sprint 11, will disappear from their boards. We can reopen this release to show them on the boards again, and at this time we're going to move the unfinished tasks to another release, or in this case, no release. So it says leave tasks without release. That's the default option. and you'll see we have no other releases because we haven't created any yet. So I will complete this release and move the tasks, and I'll go back to our boards. And here you can see all of our tasks in this board were hidden, except for the one that's not completed. And the same thing here. And you can see these metrics are updated. So that is the successful completion of a sprint. So we were able to take a bunch of tasks, add it to a release that we planned out like a sprint. We gave it some dates. We added the tasks, and then we broke them up into boards for different teams to work through our workflow. And finally, they're done, and we locked the release. As you can see, it now says released here. We can unrelease this, and all these tasks will show up on their boards. They're still on the same boards, but they're hidden, so we can work through other releases, and they're not loaded, actually. So that's it. Our release is complete, and we're good to go with planning another release and working them through either one board or multiple boards at once to break this up into some teams. So let's take another quick look at this. We took a bunch of tasks, added them here, worked them through our boards, locked the release, and any tasks that weren't completed, we were able to move to another release, or in this case, to no release. Thanks for watching. That's how you plan sprints in ZStream.